Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Lunch Update, our program to help you stay curious, connected, informed, live, and in real time. This conversation, as always, with all of our Lunch Update programs are made possible by our presenting sponsor, Perkins Coie, and also a thank you to our Accelerate sponsor, Baker Tilly, and our small and emerging business sponsor, Easy Office Products. As always, we record these, and even though they are live, we make them available at madisonbiz.com. Usually mid-afternoon, they're available. So if there's anything that you want to replay, want to recap, want to share, invite your friends to take a listen. We certainly appreciate that, and some social media attention. All are valued and appreciated. Coming up, we'll be joined by Downtown Madison Inc.'s president, Jason Ilstrup, followed by board leaders Wayne Harris and Aaron Olver. But first, here are a few chamber updates. The chamber mural that you see behind me, we have brought you along on the genesis of this mural. We will have a new addition to that mural. We told you before that inside the mural are hidden elements, dozens of elements that represent Madison that are embedded in the mural. And so if you're ever in the office, you can come and see how many that you can actually find. And at annual dinner, we asked what else should be included, and we ran a competition. There was a lot of voting and a lot of participation. And as a nod to our status as the fittest city in America, a barbell with a little bit of Madison flair, which was submitted by the Destination Madison team, was voted the winner at annual dinner. And so we will be watching that get incorporated. I'll do my best next time once it's in to show you where it's at. But Mike Leroy, our muralist and street artist in residency here, will be working on that soon. But as you can see, it's come to life. Last time I showed you the other side of the wall, this time showing you what would be the right-hand side of the wall closest to the window. But just a great masterpiece on how Madison is viewed, how it feels. I want to say thank you to everybody who voted and submitted ideas and designs about what makes Madison feel like home. Couple event updates for you. I would invite you to the Wisconsin Institutes for Discovery for our annual State of the Sectors on Wednesday, November 30th from 8 to 10 a.m. This year's program is a group of regional leaders that will assess the current state of Greater Madison's economy and then look into their crystal balls to forecast where they think we're headed in 2023. A special thank you to the lead sponsor of this event, University Research Park, and Accelerate sponsor, Johnson Financials Group. Their support makes all of this possible. You can register now at our website at madisonbiz.com. I would also invite you to join us for our final big night out of the year on Wednesday, December 7th from 4 to 6 p.m. For this event, you will enjoy drinks, appetizers, great networking, and great conversation, and explore the intersection of arts and literature in a laboratory experience, which is a community space. So Art Lit Lab, so Arts and Literature Laboratory, is a community space that supports visual and literary arts, music and performance, youth and adult art education, all in a great new location on South Livingston Street. Thanks to the lead sponsor of this event, US Bank, and the Accelerate sponsors, Catalyt and Kraus Anderson, and the small and emerging business sponsor, Easy Office Products, for making this event possible. Admission is free to Big Night Out for all chamber members, so please mark your calendars for what will be the last big night out of the year, and you can, like all the others, register at madisonbiz.com. Going to introduce all three guests that we have today, but then we'll just start with one and then bring the others in later. Jason Ilstrup, probably not a stranger to many of you, but was hired to lead Downtown Madison Incorporated on January 2018. Prior to that, he had several roles in the hospitality industry, making him a great fit for welcoming people to the downtown, including serving as a general manager of then Hotel Red here in Madison. He's got a very diverse background that makes him well suited to take on this role at DMI, including advocacy, politics, education, and community service. And then later on in the program, as I mentioned, we will welcome Wayne Harris, the CEO of 6 a.m. Marketing and the current chair of the Chamber Board of Directors. Wayne started his career working up the ranks of operations at McDonald's in Illinois. He represented other franchisees as the head of McDonald's Operator National Advertising Fund Marketing and Strategic Planning Team. He also was involved in signing Michael Jordan right out of college, and then also did a 10-year deal with Disney. In 2004, he formed an advertising agency called Glowack Harris Madison, and then ultimately became the sole owner and rebranded the company 6 a.m. Marketing. In addition to serving as the chamber board chair, Wayne previously served as our membership chair and our public policy chair. Also joining Wayne will be Aaron Olver, who was appointed a managing director of University Research Park in 2014. Aaron worked at the Wisconsin Department of Commerce from 2003 to 2011, first as the executive assistant, which was the third highest ranking role within the organization, then as deputy secretary, and then ultimately becoming secretary of commerce. After leaving commerce, he became the director of economic development for the city of Madison. He also spent time in the private sector, serving as a management consultant for McKinsey & Company in Chicago. Aaron currently serves as the Chamber's policy chair and will take over as board chair in 2023. So with that, Jason, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, although you might have just given Allie Westman Chin a heart attack by saying that I was the new Destination Madison president.
I caught myself. I said destination and I caught myself, but who knows what the future holds for you, Jason?
You never know. How's the weather on the other side of the square? It stopped snowing on my side. Ooh.
70 and sunny on this side.
Oh, it's a big difference in 4 blocks.
So yesterday, I'm sorry I couldn't make it. We had a board obligation that couldn't be, but we had some team there, and the feedback was just a stellar event, like rock star, like jam-packed room, great energy. But maybe the most important thing is you illuminated what the downtown seeing. We put out the 2022 State of the Downtown. If you haven't gotten a copy, if you weren't there, certainly go to the website. I think we'll throw in the chat the link so you can get the PDF. I'm sure if you were to call the DMI office and ask for a hard printed copy, that Jason and team would be happy to oblige you. And there's the link in the chat right there. So this is your 12th edition, and it provides data on a variety of metrics that impact downtown health. So before we start diving into the specifics in the metrics, maybe just pull back and give us that overall impression of the health of downtown from a macro level. What stands out in this year's report?
It's a great question. And first, thank you, Zach, for all your partnership with the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce. As many of you may know, we were part of the chamber for years, and we still are such strong partners. And I got to say, I think the partnership's getting stronger than ever. And I'm very thankful for the last 5 years of work that I can't believe it's been 5 years for me, but 5 years of work that we've done together. And I really do look forward to the future. We've got some pretty cool projects happening. So, what's happening macro in downtown? This is a big question for downtown Madison and for all downtowns, right? It's been a tough couple of years for many of you on this call in your industries, but particularly with downtown, because we're based in hospitality and a few other key sectors that really had some difficult times during COVID. And you add that on with some of the rioting. It has been difficult over the last few years. But the overall impression, and we're seeing this in this report, is that downtown Madison is very healthy. And it's healthy in the main key 4 sectors, right? It's healthy in resident, and we'll go into that a little bit deeper later on, I'm sure. And it's decently healthy in office compared to our friends in other peer cities. The events are back downtown, bringing tons of people back downtown. And the 4th item is tourism, which, since I'm now the president of Destination Madison, I can speak with authority on, the tourists are coming back significantly to downtown, and this matters. So from a macro level, things are good. A lot of work, including particularly by the chamber, was laid years ago to put us in a place where we call this a multi-use downtown, right? So it's not dependent on any one of those factors. We're not just having events. It's not just office workers. And we've all been to those downtowns that basically at 5 o'clock, they close down. We have not had that here. We have energy because of the different mixes, and all of them are successful in their own way. And some of them are more successful than others. So I'm excited to dive in, but I think we are in a great position. And I'm excited about this inflection point to accentuate the good things that we have and try to right some of the wrongs that have happened before. And in particular, that not everyone feels that they belong downtown. I think we've got a mission now to make sure we rectify that and create this place where everyone feels like they belong. And so really, I think positive, we're moving in the right direction, and we're excited about the next couple of years in the future here in downtown Madison.
I know I saw you on the square a couple of weeks ago, and you were pretty excited about a downtown development tracker that you guys were building out. So let's just start with that. I think it's one of the questions that people are most curious about. Sometimes there's narratives that don't reflect reality, but you can see the cranes, right? So sort of no matter where you're at, Beltline, coming on John Nolan, west side, east side, you can see cranes downtown. So some things are being built. We saw construction take a dip, and certainly even 19, but then through the pandemic in 2020, then an uptick in 2021. What are you seeing for 2022? What's this new tracker telling you as you're being able to start visualizing what development looks like?
Yeah, well, thank you. So certainly I would send everyone here to our development tracker. If you just go to our website, downtownmadison.org, you can't miss it. It's hot pink in the upper right-hand corner. We track all development in downtown. So from the O'Hara to Camp Randall and all the different projects that are happening in that area that are in the public eye, right? So they're in the community meetings and neighborhood meetings, going through the city's entitlement process, through Plan Commission, UDC landmarks, whatever they have to go through. In pre-construction and in construction, we hold them on for a few months after. And from this tracker, Zach, you and I have talked about this, there's 4,000 apartment units and about 700 hotel rooms that are part of this tracker now. And those are just the things that we know that are public. I know I'm hearing and you're hearing, rumors of other projects. And why are we seeing this? And where are we seeing the growth? The growth really is happening in residential. Many of the cranes you see today are new residential buildings. And boy, do we need more residential buildings here in downtown Madison. After the big move in, which in downtown is around the August 15th area, there's about 10,000 apartments total in downtown Madison. And there are about 20 to 30 open vacancies total, 20 to 30. So we need more in this.
20 to 30 vacancies out of 10,000 units after that.
Correct. I don't even know what that math is, like point something percent, right? That's not enough. That's not healthy. That can slow down the economic development that we're seeing in the city. We're seeing companies like Epic, right, that are hiring 4,000 people this year alone. And they're saying from their statistics, 90% of those folks are ages 22 to 26. They want to live downtown. So we have to have options for them. We're seeing this. The marketplace is certainly seeing that with those 4,000 units. On Wilson Street alone, there's 1,500 units. Some of them complete, obviously, Rich Arneson and Helen White's project on Wilson Street. You're seeing other projects that will happen there. We need to keep that up because the city, and the mayor just said this yesterday, we need to be adding 4,000 units this year and 2,000 units. This is the whole city, so not just downtown, but 2,000 units every year for the next 10 years. And downtown is a big part of where that should happen, right? We have the infrastructure, we have the transportation networks, we have the jobs. It's more sustainable to build these projects downtown. And I got to say, for every, maybe when we get to office, that sort of what's happening with office, we can negate some of the negative that we're not seeing as many people coming back with more residents because they provide ownership. They're the ones that are going to Cassetta at the odd hours to grab a sandwich. They're the ones going to August Shoes to grab a pair of shoes or soap opera to grab the soap opera, wherever it is. When you have downtown residents, you just create this vibrancy that you don't see other places. So we're excited, and you actually are starting to see the cranes that are happening now. Boy, we need them to work a little bit more quickly, but hopefully we can see a lot more projects that are coming even behind these to continue to add.
I think I got this correct, but I just want to make sure I put an exclamation point out. What you're saying is, despite the great development that you're seeing in this development tracker you guys have built, we're still going to be short on units downtown. We need to do more.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if you look at our own, the state of the downtown, it lags, right, because of how the city actually recognizes when the development takes place. And we're behind. We're probably behind a few years. So we need to catch up. So we, along with other pockets of density, right, it's not just about downtown. We need to be building dense nodes throughout the entire city. And I know this is something the chamber has worked on for years. Heather Stouter and her team is doing the same thing at the city. There's got to be these pockets of development, say it Hilldale, Westtown, Easttown, downtown, that are all connected so that they're all sort of in one space. And that's the most sustainable way to build this development. As we added 17% growth, right, between 2010 and 2020. And we're just going to continue to see that. We're one of the fastest growing cold weather cities in America. And we need to make sure we have housing, not just in the rental side, but in the ownership side. So what are we doing with condos and single family? That's maybe a little bit outside of the downtown sphere, but important questions for us nonetheless.
Curious, you teased the idea of looking at commercial. What are you seeing around commercial? I mean, what's the state of commercial downtown? Is it as vibrant as what we're seeing when it comes to housing? I'm gonna just throw a slide up so the audience can see some of the. It might be a little small, but just trying to share what what we're seeing as far as office vacancy rates. Looks like nationally pretty competitive, but how are you feeling sort of on a localized level?
Yeah, this is a great question. And this is the sort of $1 million question, right? This of those four areas, right? Residents, events, tourists, office is the one that is lagging. Right now, we're seeing, according to companies like the Castle Report, which is a company that does reads your ID tracker as you go into a space, and then the parking numbers. We're probably about 50%, maybe 60% of office attendees coming in regularly. The issue, though, is, Zach, working downtown, regularly is different in 2022 as it was in 2019. It's 3 days a week now, which is regular. Oftentimes that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's not Mondays. So Mondays can be a little bit quiet here in downtown. The positive is, we are seeing less vacancy in this marketplace than in others. So you can see from this chart, it is going up. That's negative for sure, right? We've gone from 2019 at just over 7, almost 7.5%, up to 13.5% here in 2022. That's a pretty big jump when you think about the length of leases, right? A lot of people sign minimum 5-year, 10-year leases. So these things are coming up. We are certainly losing some businesses here in downtown. But if you compare with this map on the right-hand side, some of our peer cities, right? Des Moines is at 18%, right? So, that's a big difference between what we have here. Portland is at 23%. Boulder is at 21. Austin is at 21 as well. So we are doing better than the other areas in the country. I think a couple of key things that we're paying attention to is, where's the growth happening now? So the question you asked, we're not seeing large new tenants come in or large projects come in. Obviously, WIDA completed their tower on the Cap East section of downtown a few months ago, almost a year ago. And there are potentially some other projects, the great ULI project at the American Exchange Bank. We hope that happens someday. And then 929 East Washington, the Corb and Kurt Brink project that has about 50% of it being commercial. We hope those happen. We hope those new tenants come in. And the market right now is being driven, though, by smaller tenants. The brokers are telling us a lot of new companies that are not downtown, so not just those downsizing, are looking for 2,000 to 5,000 square foot spaces. And that bodes well because they get exactly what you talk about all the time, Zach. It's this power proximity. And that power proximity happens best downtown, right? That interchange between different people working in different environments, coming from different backgrounds, that creates more innovation, more creativity. And it's all about now magnets, right? It's creating magnets to bring not only residents back, which we talked about before, but bringing the actual workers down. So we need to create amenities that create magnets for them to come. That's expanded, music, arts, supporting Camp Randall, supporting Bree Stevens and the sports that come, making sure we have the different amenities. And I'm so thankful places like the Art and Lit Lab and what Jolyn is doing, got to go to this event. Go. Can't remember the date, December something, but go to the big night out because this is a special place that matters. And all of a sudden we have this arts district happening in the Cap East section of downtown with My Arts, the Art and Lit Lab. You've got the WISO's new facility. Those amenities now matter more than ever. Location matters to a much more mobile workforce, the young workforce that's coming in, and we need to make downtown Madison as attractive as a magnet as we can.
And it's also a little bit of use it or lose it. I mean, when I talk about proximity, that's, the point of it is that if you want it to be there, you have to use it. And if we don't use it, the center of gravity risks shifting. So whether it's new residents that are taking advantage of the restaurants and the retail and the amenities that are being built downtown, but at some point when we are in an inverse of where we are, where we have more people in the office, we'll all lament if we don't have these amenities downtown. And to your point earlier, we see this in other downtowns. We see the hollow out cores around the country.
We do. I have the good fortune of being nominated and on the board now of the International Downtown Association. So associations like ours across the world. And we are doing quite well downtown. But you're right, it is use it or lose it. And so a question that I get often is, what can I personally do, or what can my company or nonprofit do to support downtown? It's use downtown. Come downtown, eat downtown, shop downtown, be part of the festivals and events that are happening downtown. We'd love if you moved your business downtown, but we understand that's not for everybody. But really, it's using downtown because these amenities that get created are for all of us. I came from tourism, as Zach mentioned before. One of the great things about tourism is it creates amenities for the tourists. But you know what? It's also great for the office workers and the residents downtown. So come and use downtown as much as you can. Hey, it's the holiday season. Shop right on State Street. We would love that, or the Capitol Square.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Obviously Target coming to State Street was a big get, right? But national retailer, one of the things I think defines downtown and certainly defines the street and the square is the localized nature of the business. That we see a lot of local businesses. And so talk to me about what we're seeing as far as the behaviors on those kind of key streets, State Street, the Square, what are you seeing as far as tenants, available space, what's going, what are the ownership models, all that still saying local? What are you seeing there?
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think I have a slide here as well that I will try to get to as you talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did an interview yesterday for the Daily Cardinal, and they were asking, I think they saw a trend of more national chains coming in, right? Target and a few, Sweet Green and Jamba Juice, Auntie Anne's, that are coming into the 600-ish block of State Street. But the facts are right here, right? And I looked back 10 years in our reports, which is the brilliance of having 12 years of reports. It has never dipped. The local ownership is always somewhere between 80 to 85% of the businesses owned in the business improvement district, Zach. So that's State Street, a few blocks off, and the Capitol Square. But we should be very proud of that, right? We're also seeing more and more stores coming in. At its sort of low point, the business improvement district, again, State Street and Capitol Square, about 375 businesses, 54 vacancies in December of 2020. We're now down to 40. And I know of a couple others, Draper is going to open a new steakhouse right on Hamilton. There's plenty of things. Again, the aforementioned Sweet Green that's opening, Mochi, Sass just opened on the Square. Go to Sass. The food is delicious. They make this amazing potato pancake thing. Great. Why I'm talking about that, I don't know. But I think it's important to know that the State Street is healthy. Now, pedestrian counts are a big part of this as well. Pedestrian counts have not returned to where they were in 2019, but that shouldn't be a surprise. Remember, when only about 50% of office workers are there. So we're probably relatively close, and we're doing really well in pedestrian counters on the 500 and 600 blocks of State Street, where the campus is as big as ever, right? They've had, I think, this biggest class they've ever had, and we're seeing that more and more. And so we're seeing this foot traffic come back downtown. Now, there are some problem areas that we're sort of looking at. The 100 block of State, right? There's a significant amount of vacancies, but there is some movement on a new project where the hotel project once was. You have the new history museum starting. They're pulling the exhibits out and starting to do the work over the next half year to a year. These become, again, those magnets that we need to create, because State Street, the top of State Street, where Mifflin, Carroll, and State all come together, is still the #1 used pedestrian intersection in the entire state of Wisconsin. And so we need to create the amenities in that area to keep that going, and to make sure that these local businesses, right, the little luxuries, the soap opera, the Parthenons, all get supported by us.
Yeah. So I know you know the story, because I might have even just called you from DC when it happened. But earlier in the year when I was in DC, I was doing office visits with Congress, and I walked into an outstate congressional office, sat down with the member of Congress, started into my pitch on what's going on in the greater Madison economy, and it was cut off and was essentially told that downtown's destroyed, it's ruined, we've run our economy into the ground. And my response was, Congressman, with all due respect, I think you should come back to Madison and see. But one of the things he really leaned in on was crime, and that that crime was rampant, and that why would anybody want to live or be downtown? Well, we know just from what you said, the numbers tell a different story. But I wonder if you could just walk us through what you're seeing, and I have a slide on this as well. But I'd love to see I'd love to hear what you're seeing in crime statistics, particularly hyper specific to downtown. I mean, we've seen some of the citywide numbers, but how do you combat this narrative that downtown is an unsafe place?
Yeah, you combat the narrative with this data we see on this chart right here, right? It's heading in the exact right direction. This is crimes battery and above, right? So it's everything above battery. So it's basically any person-based crime. And we're seeing significant progress in this. There's more vibrancy on the streets. MPD is doing great work. Community development division is doing great work. You're seeing less and less of this activity. Now, it doesn't mean there is no crime, right? We still have crime in the downtown. We still need to be very innovative with the ways that we deal with, particularly with some of the higher crimes, right? Sexual assaults and gun violence. What we are, DMI, we're very proud to be a partner and a signatory on an MOU on something called the Isthmus Safety Initiative, which is tackling these large crimes in a new and innovative, what they call multidisciplinary way, and bringing folks like violence interrupters in, bystander training for sexual assault, something they called SEPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design. This is the forefront of this work, and we're to continue to push this work to make those numbers continue to go down, so that everyone not only is safe downtown, but perceives that they're safe downtown. These are two big issues, and we need to make sure we do everything to create that safe downtown. One of the things we could do, though, is also, make sure people are coming back downtown. The greatest security deterrent is other people, right? And that means we need to invest in big projects like the Lake Monona waterfront. What's going to happen with the 400, 500, and 600 blocks of State Street now that buses are not going to be on those streets come June or July of next year? There's big projects, and we just want all of you, including the chamber, to be a part of this. And I just want to say a huge thank you to you, Zach, to Kevin, to the whole team for your support of downtown. You've been strident supporters for years, and I'm just so thankful for our partnership, because we've got a lot of work to do. We've got to still make that vibrant, equitable downtown where everyone feels like they belong, and you all are part of that conversation, and you are leading in the forefront. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I mean, obviously, we put our money where our mouth is, right? We are a downtown organization, even though we represent the region. So, final question for you: we've talked about a lot of the really positive things that are happening, and I think people would expect that the two of us would talk about, the upside, the bright light that's coming. It's not a train; it's opportunity at the end of the tunnel. But the businesses, particularly local businesses, have faced some trying couple of years. What's your sense of how they're doing in this moment? When you think about those local business owners that you see every day, that you talk to, how are they doing personally and professionally?
Yeah, I think personally they're tired. One of the couple of things that keep me up at night for downtown, we painted a very positive picture, right? And you know that from me, that's what I should do. But there are some negative trends, right? We came up with some of those, right? Office space, what's happening. But another is workforce. And this is a real concern, particularly in hospitality, which again is a huge sector. So that means that the owners of these businesses are not only working on the business, but they're working in the business. And so they're very, very tired. And so, I think whatever we can do to try to help create more workforce development, which I know the chamber is absolutely at the top of that work right now, we need to do to help out, because that can slow down the development. That and housing, right? You have to have enough housing for folks, affordable housing for those folks to live. You also have to the employees. I talked about what's a successful downtown, right? It's people, it's residents, visit office workers and normal work, every kind of worker, events, and tourists. You know what those are? They're all people, and people want vibrancy. Well, it takes, trust me, I worked in hospitality. It takes people to create vibrancy, and we need to make sure we have as many people working in these fields as possible to create that. So that's just sort of what keeps me up at night, and we got to do everything we can to help these businesses so they're not tired and they can work on the business and not in the business.
Yeah. Well, Jason, let me say, you started off the top of the show by saying, you were once part of the chamber, and obviously it was an intentional decision by the chamber to spin you out so that we could have a hyper focus on the downtown. And I think this report and the work that you guys have been doing is evidence of that's bearing the fruit that, that the chamber saw 25 years ago. If we could have a hyper focused live wire team constantly on call, on demand, and on the job when it comes to downtown, we will yield better results. And it certainly seems to me from the numbers and from what I'm hearing from you is our downtown is not without challenges, but faring much better than we've seen in other places around the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you to you and the team at the chamber for all the continued support. You and I are in communication. I feel like it's almost daily. I really do appreciate that support.
All right. Well, it's good seeing you. Thanks, Jason. Take care. All right. Well, we'll switch gears here to moving from the downtown out to the larger region. So my pleasure to bring in already the aforementioned introductions of Wayne Harris and Aaron Olver. And so we'll bring you guys both in. Thank you, Wayne. So Wayne, as you reflect on 2022 as board chair, what are the things that stand out to you? We just heard a lot of great news about hyper specific to the downtown, but I'm curious, as you're thinking about, you're in your 11th month as board chair, what are the things that stand out to you for the region?
Well, I think, one of the things that I think that the chamber accomplished, I'm really proud of, is the way that we worked with our health departments and our elected officials to get folks, back to work again and get restrictions lessened, and doing that through data versus, emotional arguments, and showing that the data says that, we're in a better place to get back to work. And the fact that the chamber was first to have an in-person business event, first with a fully vaccinated event, first for the indoor large event like Icebreaker, which had 774 people, all vaccinated, started, I think, to really bring people in Wisconsin, in Madison, back to normalcy. So that's one of the things I'm very proud of. Icebreaker luncheon this year with the Recalibrate theme, 774 people, a record there. Some great speakers, Maggie Anderson, who spoke about our Black Year and how she and her family decided to take a whole year to buy from only Black businesses and the struggle she had in doing that. And then also Alondra Fernandez, one of our several DACA citizens here. And, one of the things that she said, and I know you've highlighted it too, is that, my status here might be temporary, but my impact won't be. And, currently she is a stem cell research specialist. And I know that the Chamber has been an advocate for getting the DACA folks a path to citizenship. I'm very proud of that. The annual dinner, which featured Greg Hoffman, former chief marketing officer at Nike. He had a great presentation. We had a record crowd of 1,130 people.
You're just promoting him because you're a marketer, Wayne.
Well, maybe.
There might be a Michael Jordan connection there too.
Right, yeah, a little bit of a Michael Jordan connection. But he paid him a lot more than I did. The Latino Chamber of Commerce naming the Chamber their community partner of the year. I'm proud of the partnership we have with them as well as with the Black and Hmong Chamber. And I'm proud of the fact that our membership grew by over 100 this year, 100 businesses, I think reinforcing the fact that more and more people see the value of being a part of and supporting the Chamber. So I think, that's a few things. There's many more, but I think I want to say too that a lot of the credit goes to Zach and the board and their leadership, and to the Chamber staff who are out there every day, following through on the initiatives that the Chamber is out to accomplish. So it's been a great year, more to come.
Yep. Well, thanks, Wayne. A lot of that due to your leadership as well. So thank you for steering the ship and steering the board this year. You said more to come. You only have a month and a half. So let me know what you're up to. So I know. But, so Aaron, you've had the seat as public policy chair, so helping drive the agenda when it comes to advocacy. When you think about policy issues specifically, what are some of the highlights for you as you look back on 2022?
Yeah, I mean, I'd reinforce what Wayne said, bringing a pro-data, pro-science approach to coming out of the pandemic as we emerged. We were still under a health order when 2022 began. So I think that's a real point of pride of trying to both take care of public safety and help businesses, reopen safely, continue to thrive safely. And, Jason just talked really passionately about the importance of bringing people downtown. So that really shows you, Jason's talk really showed you how interconnected we all are and how dependent we are on each other to thrive and succeed. So I'm really proud of that. The public policy committee that I chair has been working on a number of things. We said goodbye to the last F-16s and prepare to welcome the F-35s. That's obviously important to supporting 1,000 jobs in the community and providing a lot of economic impact. At the local level, there was a proposal early this year to ban certain kinds of research. And, it wasn't really aimed at stifling research, but I'm, really proud that we were able to kind of get that set aside, because it could have really crippled the parts of the economy that are really leading the way for Dane County, as well as the University of Wisconsin-Madison. But looking forward, one of the things I'm really excited about that is just now starting to take root, so this is kind of looking back and looking forward, is the CHIPS Act. The Chamber, thanks to your leadership, Zach, has been working with the Brookings Institute and Rise of the Rest and others for many years now to kind of push forward the idea that we need the innovation economy to exist beyond just the superstar cities of Boston and San Diego and San Francisco. And Congress has now passed the CHIPS Act, which the chamber was a major supporter of and has been working with our congressional delegation on for years now. That bill authorizes the federal government to deploy $10 billion to support up to 20 of these new technology hubs. So although that money hasn't been appropriated yet, we're still awaiting rules. I'm really excited that that first step got passed, and we're starting to assemble the coalition to make sure Madison stays on that list.
So a question for both of you. You both, Wayne, you've got clients. You're also an investor. Aaron, you've got tenants. How about highlights from our members? Are there business stories or accomplishments that make you proud when you look around the community? I mean, the chamber is nothing other than its members, because the only place that we take revenue from is our members. There's no government money in it. So when you think about what our members are doing, any highlights for you, any bright spots? Whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Well, I just look around, as Jason was saying, at the cranes around town. And we have a lot of our members that are continuing to grow in a big way. I'm especially proud of, and when I hear members talk about the fact that the chamber is kind of leading the way on our DHA or DJ, that diversity and making sure that, as I said it at our chamber dinner, that none of us are as good as all of us, and I think the chamber is taking a lead role. And I hear from some of my other chamber businesses that they're proud of the fact that the chamber is taking a lead role, and that we have many businesses in Madison, some of our larger businesses, that are really upping the standard on that, and working towards making sure that everybody gets an opportunity.
Okay, that's fine. Aaron, there's a lot of there's some cranes out there by you, but tell me, what are some of the highlights from businesses around the region?
Yeah, I wanted to actually start small. The chamber supports an event every year called Pressure Chamber, where companies pitch their product or business for a chance to win a golden suitcase and join the chamber on a trip to San Francisco, which is designed to help foster ties with the venture capital community and bring investment dollars back to Wisconsin. And a number of years ago, Research Park helped stand up an incubator here called Forward Biolabs, which is its own independent group, but one that we are heavy supporters of. And I'm super proud, as I've watched that contest unfold over the years, that I think about half of the Pressure Chamber winners have either been University Research Park or Forward Biolabs tenants. And so we have this incredible constellation. I don't want to call out any particular names, but we have this incredible constellation of startups here that kind of get me out of bed in the morning, and that are growing. That's one of the reasons why one of the cranes that's out here at Research Park is for a new speculative lab building called Element Labs that we're putting up to give companies like the Pressure Chamber winners a chance to grow into new space. So life sciences in Madison has really been a bright spot. It weathered the pandemic, I think, better than anyone expected to, better than we could have foreseen back in 2020 when it started. But it's really proved an important part of Madison's resilient economy. And so there's any number of life science success stories here that are continuing to thrive, from the very small companies up to our large companies like Exact, which is really putting itself on a strong path to prosperity and profitability with some of the moves they're making, and Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals, who has a major R&D presence here in the park and announced recently a massive investment in the area to bring manufacturing capacity to Madison area as well.
I'm going to try to get two questions in before we hit the 1 o'clock hour. So, you are community leaders and board members of the chamber, but first and foremost, you run your own organizations. You're both CEOs of your own organizations. How about some highlights for you professionally within the four corners of your organization, Wayne?
I would say that the greatest thing that happened with our organization is we brought in a new president, and she's done a great job with our company. And a lesson that I learned a long time ago is hire really good people and then let them do their job. They've done a great job throughout the pandemic. Our company has grown, and we've been hiring. And so, we're seeing that there's not been a slowdown in spending and marketing, that people understand that even as the economy turns, you still need to put yourself out there. And but we've also found that we have a good portion of our business now is digital. People are online, and that's where we need to be. But it's all about people, like anything else.
Well, congratulations, Wayne. Aaron, how about you? Highlights from the intern?
Yeah, I mentioned Element Labs. I mean, that is under construction. It's the biggest building that Research Park has ever built. I think it'll be the biggest single building in the Research Park. So when you have construction going on, it's always really fun to see that come out of the ground and come in from an idea to a physical manifestation. The other thing that I'm really excited about right now, we have a new partnership with the University of Wisconsin, where they can treat all of their property the way they've sold Research Park to us. So they can sell Research Park a piece of land, and we can either develop it, or we can help them bring in a private sector developer if that's more appropriate to do new things. That is in its infancy, but it's really exciting because I think it could help strengthen campus as a place. It could help bring the campus into greater cooperation with the private sector through research, through hiring, through corporate innovation centers. I think it could give the campus a chance to really address some of the housing challenges that we've been talking about. So that's a brand new and very nascent initiative, but it's tremendously exciting with a lot of potential.
That's great. Congratulations. All right, last question for both of you. What's around the bend for 2023? Aaron, I'll start with you.
Well, I think, one of the things that Madison really enjoys is an incredibly diverse economy and an incredibly resilient economy. So we can see that there's going to be some tough times ahead. Interest rates are going up. The markets are down, and they're a little frothy right now. It's going to be hard for companies to raise their next round in this kind of environment. But Madison's future is really bright. We've got an incredibly strong research university. We've got Epic Systems, which I think has a different correlation than many of the other tech giants that you're seeing experiencing layoffs right now. So I think Epic is going to remain very strong. Of course, we've got state government. We've got a manufacturing economy. We've got a lot of hospitality and visitors for various reasons. So I think that we've been through tough times before in this community, and we've always not only weathered them relatively well, but we've also always come out of them stronger. So I'm very, very optimistic right now about that. And I think that there's maybe a window opening too on the political front. I'm actually more optimistic than I've been about politics and government and the ability to potentially get things done by leaning into a economic argument for the Madison region. So I'm excited about that.
Great. Wayne, last words.
Yep. Like Aaron, I'm excited about the political outcomes. That I think we're going to have a more balanced political system here in Wisconsin and Madison. And I'm looking forward to the progress that we make on developing people. We if anything's going to hold us back, it's going to be a lack of people and our work in diversity. And I know we're starting to look at as a community the affordability and availability of childcare, which will help put a lot of people back into the workforce. So I'm very positive, feeling positive about the fact that we're addressing the very issues that could hold us back.
Well, great. Well, Wayne, Aaron, thank you both for spending some time with us. Thanks for the leadership this year. Aaron, you're on the hook for one more year. Wayne, thank you. I also want to thank all of you for attending today. Great conversation about the vibrancy and the opportunity downtown, but also a good recap of what we're seeing in and outside of the chamber in this region. So thank you for joining us. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Perkins Coie, our Accelerate sponsor, Baker Tilly, our small and emerging business sponsor, Easy Office Products. All appreciate the support for this program. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next month.